It's going.
Dun, 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 dun. You know, if Daniel ever loses that music, we could just do it ourselves.
That's right. This is what 9 a.m. on a Sunday sounds like.
Yeah.
Trekcast.
The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
Is Trekcast, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. Today on the show, we are going to be reviewing Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, my favorite movie. Plus, we've got Star Trek news and your listener feedback. I am Scott Bouters. With me is your co-host, Dan Lombardo. And now, early bird gets the worm.
Oh,
It's
man.
Daniel Reyes.
Yeah. It's definitely
Good
early.
morning, everybody.
Early bird or early bird of prey?
Early bird of prey gets the worm. Oh,
I did hear an owl when I woke up, so
There you go.
Nice.
Who?
Nice.
there you go.
Who?
Who? Wait, are you an owl?
Who?
Who? I know.
Oh. So, good morning, everybody.
Yeah,
so
good
the reason why
morning.
we're doing the show early, I've got a Patriot Guard Riders mission
Yeah.
this morning. So Dan and especially Daniel graciously agreed to do the show an hour early. Now, for Daniel, that means a lot because Daniel is on Pacific time, which means
Yes.
it's specifically early.
That's right. It's 6 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
so
typically have to get up an hour early to get ready for the show. So
right.
yeah, it's
So
crazy.
I appreciate your sacrifice, Daniel. I really do.
Oh no, it's fun. It's fun. I'm
So,
gonna take a nap after this.
Right.
I'm
And
gonna be all messed up. I'm at a conference for work Tuesday and Wednesday, so I have to fly.
Oh man.
I have to fly tomorrow, but in order to get the flight that I wanted, I have to be at the airport at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. My flight takes off at 6
Man.
a.m. They tell you be there 2 hours early.
oh no.
Oh
So,
no.
I gotta be there. I gotta be there 4. The airport's an hour away, so I gotta leave at 3, which means I gotta get up at 2. So
Yeah.
I know you're on Pacific time, but sucks for me too. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I get it.
Oh my goodness.
When I fly to New York, that's exactly what I do. The flight's at 6 a.m. It's an hour away. I have to be there 2 hours early. Yeah.
Yep.
I get it.
Ugh.
I get it.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well,
So,
if there's anything people like, it's talking about the airport at 6 a.m.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Sure.
You'll have to excuse my voice. My voice is sort of leaving me. My son had his musical that he did. They did a production. The middle school did a production of High School Musical Junior. And
Oh,
I
wow, okay.
was volunteering both days, doing concessions and ushering and stuff like that. And also I was watching the production, both productions, and so I was like, "Yay!" So
Wouldn't
my
that be
voice-
junior high school musical?
Yeah.
I
or
guess it
middle
would
school
be middle school music.
Yeah, middle school musical.
But they did a
Whatever. No.
fantastic job, and my son really came out of his shell, and he had
That's
a little
awesome.
he had a little solo, and it was amazing. And
That's cool.
the production people are great. I did theater in high school. I did I did the plays.
Really?
Yeah, and I did
Really?
stage
So
crew.
if anyone out there if anyone out there in the world has any footage of thespian strong-reared bouters,
Master thespian, yes.
strong-reared bouters, I would love to see that.
Hey,
I
I
would
might,
too.
I might have some footage or at least some photos I can
Oh,
produce.
yes, right. Please get it to us, please.
In fact, next to the Universal Star Trek thing they used to have, where it was a green screen and you could you were the captain and your friend was the first
Oh, yeah,
officer.
yeah.
I've got that tape of my dad and I doing that when I was about
Oh, wow.
I don't know 14, 15.
Yeah,
I was the captain and my dad was the Vulcan science officer
nice.
with the ears and everything. It was great. So
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
got that somewhere. But yeah, I did theater in high school. I actually got I lettered in drama.
Okay.
So the drama I was a real sort of shy kid,
Mhm.
and once I got into theater, it really got me to come out of my shell. I honestly don't believe I'd have been doing the show if it wasn't for theater.
Oh, wow.
It really got me. I was kind of introverted in high school, and so yeah, if it wasn't for drama and theater, yeah, it really helped me out. So yeah, my son did a great job. We had a great time, so he was really into it. So yeah,
That's awesome.
and
awesome.
also the power is out. The power has been
Yes.
out at my house since Friday evening. We had a large
Great.
band of storms go through the Midwest. Did that affect you, Dan?
No, I mean,
No.
we had
No?
some rain. But
Yes, rain. Okay, it must have dissipated by the time it got to the East Coast. But
So when
yeah,
you live
for
in
the
these
Midwest
Amish
guys.
times, does the beard get stronger?
Yes, the beard is getting. I noticed for the first time it's gotten so long
Yeah.
that number one, I can
That's right,
feel it when
Ezekiel.
I can look down. But when
Yeah.
I'm riding my motorcycle, I notice that it does
Little flap.
this.
Yeah,
It'll flop
okay.
up and cover my mouth. It goes all over the place. So
Nice.
gotta put a rubber band. There's a
I
rubber band
thought
right
about
there.
it. I was telling my wife about it. She actually reached around and, as a joke, and just grabbed it like this while we were riding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Well, enough about me. How are you guys
Yeah.
doing?
We're good. I'm good, man. How about you, Dan? How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm looking forward
Nice.
to sitting at the airport for 2 hours tomorrow morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Although the traveling, I'm not looking forward to the traveling. The conference is in Florida, so it's at
okay.
it's at a beach resort.
Oh,
in
nice.
Florida. So
Nice.
that must be rough.
yeah, it is rough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at the agenda tomorrow and figure out where my presence is truly needed. And where,
Oh, this looks like a coconut drink conference right here, and
that's right.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay.
so no, I'm looking
Alright.
forward to one of my coworkers from when I worked down in New York City. She's also going. So
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's
someone
always cool
else
to see
down
friends
there.
like that.
yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the Star Trek news because there's quite a bit. So
Okie
here we
dokie.
go.
Star Trek news.
All right. So our first news story comes to us from Trek Central, and they have an exclusive. And apparently, there is a new Star Trek series in the works, one that we did not know about.
Really?
Yes. So it will be called Star Trek Starfleet Scouts. It appears to be a family-friendly project and will be a series of children's animated digital shorts that will air on YouTube. So these will be straight to YouTube, little kids shorts called Starfleet Scouts.
Just what the fans were asking for to make Paramount a bunch of money.
You know, I mean, that was the whole point of Prodigy was to bring in the kids, and they kind of gave up on
How'd that work out?
Right. So they're going to take another crack at it.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how that happens, but
You go ahead and tell them they can go ahead and take a crack at it.
They get all this feedback from the fans telling them exactly what they want, and
Yeah.
they go do other stuff.
they
So,
know
I don't
better.
I give up.
Yeah.
You know what Paramount is? The three of us are my three dads,
Yeah.
and Paramount is the petulant, recalcitrant child.
Feels
You
that
tell
way.
it like teenager. Paramount's acting like a
Yeah.
teenager. I want to do what I want.
You know what's really wild is Paramount recently announced a bunch of delays in films, like the new Ninja Turtles movie is going to be delayed like 9 months. The what is it? The Avatar, the animated Avatar: The Last Airbender. Guess they're doing a movie for that. That's also been delayed, and a few other things. Projects have been delayed. And if you look at it, it's right about when they think the merger is going to go through that they're delaying these things. So,
jeez.
yeah. There's also rumors that
then nothing will ever get done. If they're going to wait until, let's wait until this merger goes through. Based on what's happened with Paramount, nothing's ever going to get made.
Well, that's like, all right, you make a deal to sell your house. After the deal is inked, you don't then go out and replace the windows.
Right.
You don't then put a new roof on the house. It's already made.
Right.
No, that's a new owner problem. I think they're kicking some of these things down the road because, well, let's spend the money in the third quarter of next year instead, and it'll be this other group of people spending their money, not us.
Right. There's also reports that right now Paramount isn't really acquiring scripts and pitching ideas or anything like that for new product, because why would they sink money into it? They're looking to get out. So, yeah.
Nope, I don't need an estimate on the windows.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
I'm not buying windows.
Right. So yeah. So there you go, Starfleet Scouts. So it's on its way.
Okay.
Our next news story comes to us from Variety, and this is kind of weird that it came out like this, but whatever. We have set a release date for Strange New Worlds season 3.
Yay!
Yeah. So it will be coming out July 17th. So that's pretty cool. So they're gonna do that. That is a Thursday, if I looked at the calendar correctly.
Yep.
So it will be released on is it Tribeca Film Festival, like on a Tuesday, and then a few days later it'll be released nationwide on Paramount Plus on the 17th. So
okay,
there you go. So now we know. We'll finally get the end of that cliffhanger. Did the Gorns kill the crew, and then we have 9 episodes of nothing, or did they?
So I've got until then to rewatch season 2 because most of season 2, except for the musical episode and the crossover episode and a little bit of Gorny stuff, I don't remember any of it.
I heard that they're going to have a scratch and sniff episode, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to see if my phone's compatible for that.
Yeah, I think if you have a Paramount Plus account, they'll send you an envelope with the scratch and sniff sticker. And
so we can finally smell what the Gorns smell like.
I have no idea. I guess we'll find out.
Oh boy. Yeah, they probably are like snakes. They probably have secretions to make themselves stinky.
Probably, yeah. Ugh. Nobody likes secretions.
Well, that's good timing. A week before that is when the new Superman movie comes out, and I'm actually going to be in Lansing for the Capital City Comic-Con for one day.
Yeah. I am so excited for that Superman movie.
Oh, so am I.
I'm still not crazy about the S. I'm still not crazy about the costume. But everything else looks amazing. I'm super excited for it.
It's funny because all the hate that this movie's getting, like all the comments that I'm looking at, they're obviously they don't know anything about Superman. They've never read a Superman comic. I'm excited for this Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then our next news story comes to us. Who is this from? This is from Gizmodo, and it looks like the poor kids at Star Trek Prodigy may need a new home soon. So it looks like at the end of the year, Netflix will be done with their license for Star Trek Prodigy, and it's not for sure that Prodigy would then return to Paramount. They might look for someone else to pay for it and put it on their streaming service. So who knows?
I saw this story, and my thoughts are, I think they're just trying to create like panic buzz about it. Like, oh, for all the people like me who said, yeah, I'm going to watch it. And I watched the first season and the first episode of the second season. And my first thought when I first started skimming this article was, oh, crap, I need to hurry up and go watch Prodigy. I think that was the point of this article.
I have a feeling that's kind of the point. Yeah. Because you got till the end of the year, so now it's like, okay, well.
You got to the end of the year, and the rights running out means almost nothing. It's either just going to stay on Netflix or it's going to bounce back to Paramount.
No. It'll go off on Netflix for sure. It's just will they put it back on Paramount. So
okay, then it'll go on Paramount because what does it cost Paramount?
At some point, it'll be somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere.
I mean, you go over to Dan's house, it's going to be the metal box set.
That's right. That's right. Oh. The Laserdisc set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't got that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And we do have one more news story. This is kind of pretty cool. You know how we have correspondents kind of everywhere, and we have people who talk to us. Well, we actually have somebody who went to the Star Trek Fan Fest, the big one down in LA. Yeah, and so they have filed a field report, and I got that. The audio is a little bit glitchy. I had to use some AI enhancement to kind of bring it out, but it came out pretty decent. So let's play that now.
So my Trekcast. I'm here at Universal Studios at the Penfest. I think this is the last thing. I just wanted to give you a little picture to say hi and just let you know that I'm glad that Star Trek is living along and prospering. Still here. I can't wait to see the next thing they do.
So there you go.
Nice.
For those listening who weren't sure, that was Darren. Darren was one of the original hosts of Trekcast, Darren Benjamin. So yeah, he went down there and he put it on his Facebook, and I'm like, hey buddy, what's up?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So there you go. I thought that was cool. Yeah. So if you woke up early, you got that treat.
Yeah. We don't just do the show live. You also post this on podcast apps, right?
That's right. And it lives on YouTube after the fact. So
okay.
Yeah, people can watch it. So
I didn't want to think that I'm just, or for all I know, it's just the three of us, and you've just convinced me that
that's it. That's all it is.
It's like on The Office when Creed asked what's his face to set him up with a blog. He just set him up with a Word document.
Right.
Maybe that's what you guys are doing. Like
that's right. That's all it is. There is no show. There's only Zool.
No, it's just the three of us. This is just a Zoom meeting.
That's right. That's awesome. All right. Well, we should probably get to our main topic.
Yes.
Star Trek 6. So let's do that.
Fun will now commence.
That's right. Tach bah tach be.
That's right. Oh, Alejandro, that was awesome. Where's that D bridge at? I didn't know it was a live attraction for. Yeah, so it's at Universal Studios in California. It's the Fan Fest. It's only going to be there for a little while, but it is up and running, baby. So.
Yeah, looks like fun.
Yeah. Like fun. All right, so we are reviewing Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. This movie originally came out in 1991. How old were you guys in 1991?
Yeah. Was I born? Dan, I don't think you were born yet. I don't think we were born yet.
I was 14.
It was released December 6th, 1991, if that helps.
Okay. I was 13.
You were 13?
I saw this one in the theater.
I just started becoming a Star Trek fan around this time. So I did not see this in the theaters.
Okay. I saw it in the theater with my friend Rob Schweitzer, who
nice.
Is a member of the Facebook group. I don't know if he listens to the show religiously, but he and I saw this together.
Oh, cool.
This is the movie, though, that I've probably seen. It's a toss-up between this and First Contact, although probably this because I've been watching it for a longer period of time. This is the one that I watch over and over and over again. My buddy Gabe and I would hang out and eat popcorn drink sodas, and just watch this movie. Like anytime he came over, it's like, what movie do you want to watch? And we would go through the list, and it's like, let's just go with that favorite staple. Watch Undiscovered Country. So
yeah. Right on. Yeah, no, this movie is great. It saw the return of Nicholas Meyer as the writer and director.
Yep.
Which was interesting. It is a story though by Leonard Nimoy, Lawrence Corner, and Mark Rosenthal. So that's interesting.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of interesting talent coming together. I had copious amounts of notes that I had on my phone, but unfortunately, I have to use my phone to do the podcast because I don't have any power.
Same thing. I took notes on my phone, and then about a minute ago, I realized,
well, Alejandro says he was 9 years old when the movie came out, so there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, let's kind of go through it, what it was about. I do have the Rotten Tomato scores too, if you want to look at that real quick. All right, well, let's do that real quick. So this movie has a critic score of 83%, a viewer score of 84, so pretty much right in line with each other. It's rare that it gets that even between the two.
I think that's even underrated.
I think so too. I think it should be in the 90s.
It should definitely be in the 90s. This is probably one of the more perfect Star Trek movies. I mean, not that there was a lot of things wrong with it, but it was, everything came together and worked beautifully. And I'm not talking about, the nitpicks of whatever, production issues or there was a camera or like a wire or, you could visible or, a boom mic you could see, but just as far as how everything eventually came together, story-wise, visual, the music was fantastic.
Yeah.
The visual effects for 1991, the Praxis effect of the moon exploding.
Yeah.
Even from the initial opening, the opening credits, it was just a very slow, ominous type of music, and it really set the tone that this is not your typical science fiction film. This is more of a political, thriller type movie.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a Star Trek movie, but it totally was.
Right. I think what was great about this movie is it was very cool that it wasn't like this giant intergalactic threat, but a threat to the Federation. Like it was smaller scale, but important.
Yeah. And it wasn't just it was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So, and I'm usually not the conspiracy. I usually don't go for those kinds of things, but the way they did it, I really liked. So.
Yeah. So we should probably get into a little bit of what the plot was about. So basically, it turns out there is an explosion on the Klingon moon of Praxis. It just reverberates around the whole galaxy, and it ends up that the Klingons, because they spent so much money on defense, have nothing left, and they don't have enough to.
You're coming in real muffled.
Okay, that's not just me. I think whenever you scroll.
Okay. Do you guys want to do
sound fine.
Okay. Do you want to do the recap?
Yeah, I'll recap it.
Okay, go.
Okay.
So there's a Klingon moon called Chernobyl,
right?
And it explodes because of lax safety protocols. And I'm sorry, I'm confusing that with real life. So the Klingon moon of Praxis explodes due to overmining. It taxes the Klingon economy to the point where they can't maintain their current level of military spending, so they're forced to negotiate peace with the Federation. There are elements within the Klingon Empire and within the Federation that do not want peace. They want to maintain the status quo, and those elements conspire to first murder the Klingon Chancellor, and then later try and murder the Federation president, and the Klingons continue. Captain Kirk is framed for the murder of the Klingon Chancellor. He's sent to a Klingon prison. He escapes. He's rescued by the Enterprise, and now the Enterprise is in a race against time to get to the peace conference to save the Chancellor's daughter and the Federation president before they are assassinated. At the same time, the crew of the Enterprise is trying to figure out who murdered the Klingon Chancellor, and the assassins are aboard the ship.
Right.
And hilarity ensues.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was a terrible synopsis.
No, you did 10 times better than
I
me.
hit all
Because
the
that took me an
things,
hour
but-
to do Star Trek 2. So let me continue on from that, because your audio was getting just a little bit choppy. So they're trying to figure out who the assassins are. It turns out there were two Starfleet crewmen who were responsible for the actual assassination, but it was Lieutenant Valeris that was sort of on the ship as a co-conspirator. She's the one that had the crewmen beam aboard the Gorkin ship to kill him, and she is also a co-conspirator along with the Romulan ambassador, a Starfleet admiral.
Yeah.
Ben Sisko's father, Admiral
That's punished when
Cartwright.
he has to run a restaurant.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. In New Orleans. And so they figure out what's going on. Now they have to stop them. There's a Klingon bird of prey that can fire while cloaked. The first, last, and I believe only time that's ever been shown in Star Trek.
Yeah, it's a prototype.
And so, like Dan said, it's a race against time. They get to the peace conference. The Excelsior gets there to help out. They're able to figure out how to locate this bird of prey, destroy it. Tak Bay, to be or not to be. Chang dies, the Klingon co-conspirator. They beam down to the peace conference just in time for Scotty to kill Odo, although that's not shown on screen in the theatrical version.
Right.
The Klingon who is trying to assassinate the Federation president was played by Renee Abenujua, who played Odo. But that's not shown in the theatrical release nor the initial DVD release.
Right.
It's only shown in the director's cut. And there are, by my count, 3 different versions of this movie.
Oh, wow.
There's the theatrical cut, which doesn't show Colonel West at all. It doesn't show the scene. I saw the theatrical version. It does not show the scene where they're talking about, we can go in, rescue the hostages, and be out with a minimal amount of loss of equipment and personnel. And then the president says, what about a full-scale war? And that's when Colonel West says, frankly, sir, we can clean their chronometers. That was not in the original cut, nor was peeling back the mask and revealing Colonel West and Colonel Worf saying, this is not Klingon blood. None of that's in the theatrical release.
Okay.
There's another release where when Valeris is being Vulcan mind raped by Spock, where as she's mentioning the co-conspirators, there's a flashback scene for each one. And that's only in the DVD re-release special edition.
Okay.
And then there's the director's cut, which doesn't show the flashbacks. Have you ever seen this? The flashbacks
No,
where she
I've never
goes,
seen that one.
Romulan ambassador, and as she says it, okay, I'll have to do some digging to figure, because the last time I watched this movie, that's what I saw.
Okay.
I've never seen the flashbacks, but I don't doubt it, because what I've noticed in this movie, there's a lot of remind the viewer.
Yeah.
Remind the viewer. When Sulu orders his operations officer or whatever to send a message to the Enterprise and tell them that we're standing by to assist them. He then, tell them, sign the message, Captain Sulu, commander of the. We know who you are. We know who you are. But to sign your emails. Okay, we can look at the email address and see who said
Right.
that. But it's one of these things where, all right, the Excelsior bridge looks a lot like the Enterprise bridge. They're all wearing the same uniform. We need to remind the casual viewer who this guy is,
Right.
Right.
what his part of the story is. So the fact that they threw in some flashbacks to Colonel West, this is the Romulan ambassador, this is who this is. I can understand them doing that. Now, on the contrary, when I saw this as a kid, I was confused about who the president was, the president of the Federation, because
Right.
he looks like an old Klingon.
Right.
Okay? He
Right.
has white hair. He's got some subdued ridges on his head. He's got a Fu Manchu mustache. Okay. And as a 14-year-old, when I didn't exactly know what exactly is an ambassador and whatnot, you get the Klingon ambassador talking to him like he's someone important. I'm like, all right, is that his boss? Is he another
Right.
Klingon?
You
Are
don't
the
know the
Klingons part of
organizational
that?
relationships.
It was well, and there was another thing in the first season of TNG, which was fresh in my mind at that point. There's a conversation between Wesley Crusher and Worf, where Crusher says something. Worf's talking about something in recent Klingon history, and Wesley says something like, "Oh, was that before the Klingons joined the Federation?" So in the original Bible for TNG, the Klingons had joined the Federation at that point. That's why Worf was in Starfleet and not in the Klingon Defense Force. And somewhere along the way, they decided, no, Klingons are just, they're still Klingons. He was adopted. That's why he's in that uniform. But that line still exists. It makes no sense, but that line still exists. So I had remembered, okay, well, the Klingons joined the Federation at some point. Are they part of the Federation? Is this president a Klingon? It was very confusing. So, they're reminding the viewer, and at the same time, they're confusing.
Yeah. No, it was so confusing to the fact that even when they brought back that species in Discovery as a librarian, we were
confused.
Is that a Klingon? Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's what is that species called? Elysian?
I don't remember.
Something like that. But they could have that Wesley line. They could have fixed that with one word. Just change out one word. Is that before the Klingons aligned with the Federation?
Right. Yeah.
So I think they should. I think they should.
What are they going to do?
Lucas
They're going to George Lucas?
Yeah. Ephrodsians.
There you go.
Awaiting game said, Ephrodsians.
Yeah.
And he said the way they depicted Ephrodsians was a strange design.
Yeah.
Strange design decision. They do look like Klingons.
Yeah.
So you know what else is funny? So you have a non-human as the president of the Federation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then this meeting at the beginning of the movie where Kirk is given this shit assignment that he doesn't want. Those are all high-ranking Starfleet officials, except for the crew of the Enterprise. Every one of them's human.
A waiting game is asking for a need alert. Need
What's
alert?
that?
A waiting game is a need alert instead of nerd alert typo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of
We're
deserves
needy.
it. So, yeah.
Now, hold on.
Warning! Nerd alert!
Hold on there, Dan. How do we know that some of those Starfleet high-ranking officials weren't Betazoid or maybe any other human-looking race? I mean, it could have been humans and Betazoids.
Yeah.
I
was going to ask you,
Because
which
in movies
edition...
you show people, you don't tell people. So if they
That's
wanted,
right.
if they wanted us to think they were aliens, they would have made them. They would have made them aliens. They would have made.
They could have been Trill,
aliens.
surgically altered Klingons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could have been.
Sure.
There wasn't a high death back then. There might have been some Vulcans in there. Okay, so just the last 5 minutes of the film, they are able to get to the peace conference in time. They beam in, they push through the crowd. Jim Kirk himself throws the president down from the podium. Scotty kicks a door down. I just noticed this for the very first time. He doesn't kick the door open. He kicks the door down right off its hinges and shoots the Klingon.
The Kool-Aid Man.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. And so he gets down. Another thing that I noted on IMDb under the nitpicks, when Scotty's on the Enterprise during the battle with Chang, he's wearing a engineer outfit. When he beams down, he's wearing a typical Starfleet uniform. So he was like, "Well, if I'm gonna meet the president, I've got to look good."
Yeah.
So he changes it to his regular uniform, and then the chaos sort of settles down, and all the co-conspirators are sort of there, and they're all looking down as if they're hiding their heads, hanging their heads in shame. Mm-hmm. And then Azabur, the new Klingon chancellor, the new female Klingon chancellor, is what's the meaning of this? And Kirk explains, your father called the future the undiscovered country, and she says, "You've restored my father's faith," and he says, "You have restored my son." So, and then they go to fly off into the sunset. They get a last-minute call from Starfleet saying, "You've been decommissioned. Report back to Starfleet." Which I don't know how Starfleet thought that was going to go, but this is James Kirk we're talking about. So he basically just, Chekhov says, "What's your orders?" Course setting, and he just says, he basically Peter Pans it and says, "Second star to the right and straight on until morning," and that's it. And then we have the signature autograph send off of the cast.
I was thinking when I was watching that, like, imagine like you're the intern.
So
it's your first ship. What?
Yes, Dan.
Yeah, Dan was going to say something too.
No, go ahead.
I was okay.
You started.
No, just imagine like that's your first new ship, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, these old people are just taking off. We're never going back. What's going on?
I had another issue with the whole, in 3 months, this crew is due to stand down in 3 months.
Yeah.
They all have their own careers, start dates, days they enlisted. Like, that's not the way it works on any other naval, Space Force, NASA mission. You've got, everybody there has their own career and their own retirement date. They're not going to all retire at the same time or stand down at the same time. They're going to get replacements at different times.
Yeah, it's staggered.
So that's the only.
I think they're talking
they
about.
do that a lot.
I think they're talking about the ship is going to be decommissioned in 3 months. So the crew is going to go their separate ways in 3 months. And at the end of the movie, the ship is not being decommissioned in 3 months because the bird of prey just shot the shit out of it. It's being decommissioned now. That's how I always interpreted that.
Okay. All right. I can dig that.
What was the other thing you were going to say, Dan?
So best line in the movie. Yeah. Best line in the movie. Arrest that man. Arrest yourself.
Arrest yourself. Which I always thought that Bones said that. I don't think so. I think that was Spock that said that.
Do you guys agree with me that it is a really sad, just a missed opportunity to not have Dom DeLuise play the president instead?
Why?
I just feel like that should have happened.
Oh goodness. I did want the Federation president to at one point just look at any of the ambassadors, go, and they're like, say a line something like, Mr. President, those men have literally saved this planet, and the president goes, and now they're going to do it again by standing trial. Dumbass.
That's right. Which edition has the president wanting to kill RoboCop?
Right. Yeah.
I want the president to walk in and say, "Bitches leave."
Can you fly, Ambassador?
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah. Oh God, we should review RoboCop on this show.
Oh God, yes, that'd be great.
That'd be a good supplemental.
yeah, it would. Oh man.
So, what are our thoughts? Any final thoughts as far as like what we think about the movie. Obviously, I loved it. It was great. Martia, the Kamaloid, and just the Ruhrpente, all the sets, the scenes, were fantastic. I just
I
loved
loved it. We did get a brief
The
cameo from
Enterprise
Christian
D for
Slater.
half the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, Christian Slater. Yep.
Christian
I think
Slater
I'm
was
on
in
a delay.
Yes,
Slightly,
you are on
I
slightly.
think my video. I'm gonna
You might need to
reset.
reset to catch back up. Okay. Yeah.
Christian Slater was paid $750. You got to check for $750 for this movie.
Yeah,
and
apparently,
it's still framed on his wall.
yeah, that's the rumor. According to IMDb, there is a quote from a BBC interview where Christian Slater, I guess, got to wear William Shatner's pants from Wrath of Khan. So he said it was an honor to get into Shatner's pants.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. There's Dan.
Has that any better?
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, much better.
Yeah.
So, Valaris in the original draft, that was supposed to be Savick,
Right.
and they decided to change the character because, we'd kind of grown to love Savick. And,
Roddenberry or somebody
turning her
objected.
into
Either Nick
the bad
Meyer or
guy.
Roddenberry objected.
Yeah.
So, and Roddenberry was present for this film, for the making of this film, for a little bit. He was in failing health. He was confined to a wheelchair, oxygen tank. In fact, he had a little bit of an argument with Nick Meyer about some part of the production, and he apparently Roddenberry died 2 days later. And
Oh wow.
And it was unbeknownst to Nick Meyer that he was in such frail health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the last Star Trek project that Roddenberry was involved in.
So I could only read some of it. What was that last message that came up? I think it was about the mind meld.
Yeah, the moment when Spock forces a mind meld on Valaris was shocking, but it showed how out of character that was for Spock.
Yeah, Spock did not want to do that. I would imagine that's probably taboo on Vulcan, but
Yeah.
this was a lot was at stake, and I think Spock just had a decision to make.
Yeah, they needed the info. So
Like my shirt says, trek yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, yeah. So overall, it sounds like we liked it.
So Spock did a couple of things that were out of character. The scene in the infirmary at night when she.
Oh, we're losing Dan again.
We're losing Dan.
I think I'm on a delay again.
I think what he's going to talk about this scene in the infirmary where it took me until I was in my 40s to figure out what the hell was going on. So when Kirk and McCoy first beam aboard the ship, they're trying to figure out how they're going to catch these perps, these assassins, and it was always confusing to me exactly what was going on. Just as they're talking about it, they come across Burke and Sanyo, and that's when Kirk has the idea of how can we catch the intruder, or how can we catch the assassin, and that's when they have somebody over the intercom say, hey, court reporter, we need you to report to sickbay because Burke and Sanyo need to make a statement, alerting Valaris that, maybe I didn't do a good enough job of killing them, and then going into sickbay, and then that's when Spock turns on the light and it's Spock, and Spock's pissed. You can hear the anger in his voice.
Yeah,
he is very angry because his successor, this person that he's mentored, has betrayed him and betrayed Starfleet, betrayed the Federation, and he says you have to shoot if you're logical. You've already She's like, I don't want to. And he's like, it doesn't matter what you want, what you've chosen. This choice to betray the Federation, to betray the uniform, to betray me, is what is important to you apparently now. And then he smacks the phaser out of her hand.
Yeah,
which was an uncharacteristic, angry sort of response. I mean, he was angry when he smacked that phaser out
when
of
the
her
human
hand.
side was getting out there,
Very much so. Very much so.
You know what's funny too? she's supposed to be his successor, right?
Right.
But we do have that scene where they're in his quarters. He's in his pajamas, basically. He's
Yep.
giving her drinks.
They're having a sexy drink. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on here, Spock? What is
I
going
mean,
on?
apparently
sir?
he's into younger women because Savick was much younger, although he was a teenager at the time. But
That's right. That's right.
His body's only about 4 years old at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Who's rocking the
Yeah.
cradle now?
She's a Vulcan cougar.
That's right.
Yeah,
He likes the older women, apparently, then.
a Vulcan Kruger. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
probably only like in this movie she's probably only 60. That was a great
That's right.
scene where at the beginning where Kirk says you piloted well out of space dock,
So
and she's
what,
like, "Thanks, I've always wanted to try that."
So didn't Savick pilot the ship out of space dock? From the
Yes.
previous movie. Okay. So I think this is another one of those tell the casual viewer this is not Savick. This is a different character.
Right.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was funny is in both Nicholas Meyer films, the villain is quoting stuff all the time, right? So Khan was quoting Moby Dick, Chang is quoting Shakespeare. So very clearly, Nicholas Meyer equates intelligence with quoting, and that's his clue for audiences. So I thought that was funny. But
You've truly never experienced Shakespeare until you've heard it in the original Klingon.
that's right.
Yeah. That never made sense to me. That whole
Nope.
No.
No. And he did it on more than one thing. Spock says, there's an old Vulcan proverb, only Nixon could go to China.
That's right.
And then he also attributes something else that's not Vulcan. He says an old ancestor of mine maintained that if you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. That's Arthur Conan Doyle.
Right.
That's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
So apparently Vulcans and Klingons like to appropriate other people's literature.
Spock, yeah.
Spock's half human, so that's Amanda's great grandfather was Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, and not just literature, but like only Nixon could go to China. Like was that event so important that even the Vulcans know about it?
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So what do you think about that mind meld scene at the end when they need to get information from Valeris and Spock mind melds with her against her will, and then
they wouldn't have done it today.
You don't think so?
They wouldn't have done it today. Oh no, because I think back then nobody the first thing I thought when I was watching it was it felt rapey.
Yeah.
And I mean I understand that brings all kinds of ethical questions.
Right.
Would an assault like that it's an assault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Obviously she was petrified. She didn't want to do it. Towards the end she looked like she was being tortured. So, in 2025, I don't think they would have done that scene.
So I don't think I quite equate it to rape. I think I more equate it.
That's kind of where
torture.
I'm at with it.
Okay.
Yeah, and my question is, if the stakes are high enough, what are you willing? My question is this: Scott, your father, someone has your child held hostage, and you have a guy who knows where they are. Are you going to dangle him off a roof to get that information?
Yeah, my kids, all bets are off.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll live with the consequences later. I'll sort that out with my God at whatever time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And so for years, I've seen people talk about this, and they say, "Oh, it's torture, and they could never do this, and it's terrible, and blah 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 blah." And it's illegal, and they broke rules, and this, that, and the other thing. There's a legal concept called the lesser of two evils doctrine. That if you commit an evil to prevent an even worse evil from happening or continuing, it's justification for your acts. So,
Right.
They knew that the president was going to be assassinated and that it would plunge the galaxy into continued war.
Right. I think
Yeah.
if you were going to write that today.
2 hands on her face. Mind meld the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Mind meld the shit out of her. That needs to go on a t-shirt. I'm going to mind meld the shit out of you, baby.
I think if you were going to write that scene today, you would do a quick exchange where, like, look, you better tell us what we want to know, or we're going to mind meld you. Like, you almost put it on her,
Right. Like, we don't want to do this, we have to.
No, not like that, but yeah. Yeah. I think you would do something like that. But I don't know. So 2 evils make a right.
Alejandro, two evils make a right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's an ethical dilemma.
Yeah.
I like yeah.
That's the best Star Trek though, when there's an ethical dilemma and what do you do? So
Oh, I just thought of something. The guy that played the warden, I guess he was a warden at Ropente. That was Data's grandfather.
Oh.
From the Shinzoid Man.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool.
Who transferred it's the episode where the old man transferred his consciousness into Data's body.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep, same actor.
Is that? I thought that was the skits. I thought it was pronounced schizoid. Isn't it?
Schizoid? I don't know how to pronounce it. Schizoid. Is that Shinzoid?
I don't know. I haven't seen the episode.
You got to remember, when I recall these episode names, I'm recalling them from 14-year-old me, who read it as, the shiny Zoidy man. I didn't.
Right.
I couldn't. Hell, I can't read now. I could barely read back then.
Yeah.
So, the Schizoid man. Yeah.
Is that a season 1 or season
2?
Is that season 1 or 2?
I think that's season 2.
Yeah, I rarely rewatch TNG seasons 1 and 2. I skip right to season 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
Yeah, the rewatch. Right. I'm still in the middle of the original series, and I've made a decision about my rewatch of Star Trek. I've got to.
You don't have to. It's okay.
I believe that not only am I going to finish the original series, but I'm also going to watch the animated series.
Good Lord.
And the reason why is I think we should have some sort of special award. I want to hear from everybody out there. Anybody who's seen every single minute of canon Star Trek.
Well, you're going to have to watch Starfleet Scouts, man.
Right, Starfleet, you're right, yeah. I want to know anybody who's seen everything, including the animated series, all the short treks,
there's people
original series, everything. And I want to hear from you because you deserve a special medallion, a special coin, a special something, and I want to join that club by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, should we get to listener feedback?
I'll make some sort of medallion coin or
nice.
A little woodworking plaque or something.
All right.
I want to hear from you.
Okay. Should we get to listener feedback then?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Listener feedback.
Can you tell everybody, just remind everybody how listener feedback works?
Yes. So you can either reach out to us on our social media. We have social media everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's all over the place. You can also leave us a voicemail at 570-661-0001. That's 570-661-0001. We also have our emails, trekcasttng@gmail.com. And then, Scott, what's yours?
Strongbeard1701@gmail.com.
There you go. So,
and what if you want to participate in the live chat at the end of the show? How do you do that?
just X up in the chat, and we'll bring you in. We have Chazbiz waiting. He had X'd up as well, So he'll be.
And when
in
you
there.
say X up, you literally mean like in the chat.
Just put an X.
Just,
yep.
Just put an X, and that'll give you the signal that they want to chat.
Oh, Dan's on the move. Yeah. All right.
We need him to go to coordinates.
Okay.
Yeah, we did 86 Mark 215.
That's right.
And engage at full impulse.
I'm the only ship in the quadrant.
That's right. Thrusters at half speed. Dan is performing the Riker maneuver. Nice.
Man, he's
yeah. All right.
He's really fingering those L-cards controls.
Oh my God. There's Jazzbiz.
What's up, Jazzbiz?
Right. Scott, some of your terminology, fingering, reach around the beard.
Yeah.
Your
mom watches the show, man.
It's all about innuendo with me. Hi, Mom.
But man.
Oh boy.
Did you watch the movie, Chazbiz?
Oh yeah, I watched it with my dad last night.
Nice.
I had to explain what stars were. So
your dad, man, your dad's gonna get one of Scott's coins. He's been watching tons of stuff.
That's right.
I know. We didn't start with the motion picture. We started with Wrath of Khan. So
there you go.
That's fine. You don't need to start with the motion picture.
He would have slept through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'd have to listen to him snore. So.
What did your dad think?
He actually liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of all the ones he's watched, which one is his favorite?
All the evens.
All the evens. Okay.
Yeah.
All the evens. The odds kind of took him out of it. So.
Okay.
And just like everybody else, the evens are the best movies, and that's why Dan's here.
That's right.
And will Dan show up for Generations and First Contact?
I don't know if we'll get into those because we've got Strange New World starting back up. We're gonna have to do a prediction show. It'd be nice to kind of do a few other episodes before we go back to reviews.
Right. Well, we do have a couple of months before Strange New Worlds comes out, so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. But, so you liked it, Jazbiz?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Wonder where Tuvok was the whole time.
I mentioned that during the film too. I'm like, hey, Hud, Tuvok's on that ship right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite part's the knee nards when he kicks the guy in the knee.
Oh,
and that's
nards.
I thought that was an alien. I'm like, who are
that's
the
great.
Nenards?
I'm like, who are the Nenards? That in my head canon, that's who they are. He came across a Nenard.
I'm thinking, are those the little guys that work in pairs that had to reprogram the controls to Enterprise D? No, those are
come in pairs.
Binars. This is Nenard.
that is my head canon from now on. That the alien that he fights in Repente is a Nenard from the planet Nenar.
It's amazing.
The Nenarian whole world.
As a kid, is when he kicks him there. It's like, no, everybody has their genitals, the same area. So,
a waiting game is asking, did they ever bring back Klingon Pepto-Bismol blood back? Their pink blood.
Yeah, that's a thing. Everybody, it's pretty common knowledge now that they had to do the purplish blood because they didn't want to get an R rating, and it looked cool, but they just couldn't.
Awesome.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
It looked freaking, especially when he cut his arm off, and then you see the guy's arm like plop off.
So who were the two yeomen that were in the suits?
Burke and Sanyo.
So Burke and Sanyo are excellent marksmen because they were shooting from the hip. They weren't using sights, and they hit every one of those Klingons right in the heart, right dead center in the heart. Center mass.
In their 8-chambered heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't do that.
They have those Daft Punk outfits on. They looked awesome.
Yeah.
Like Rom Space Knight.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Also another thing, I don't know what those must have been extra vehicle suits, that you could go outside the ship in. Mm-hmm. Those suits are the only EV suits I've ever seen in Star Trek that didn't reveal the face of the person inside.
Which is awesome. I love those.
Well, they didn't turn on the little light to.
Right. It's the first time I ever really paid attention to their helmets.
Oh yeah.
So,
and
I love the phasers. the new phaser design. You know, it was more pistol shaped, a little bit more compact. It looked robust. Like it was smaller, but it looked more substantial. You know, it felt heavier. Because the Cobra things they came out with, the Cobra phasers they came out for Next Generation never made any sense. They look cool, but there's no way to aim them.
Yeah. And then the JJ movies, the way they almost shot like a gun. They weren't really a phaser.
They look toyish though, like the way that the thing flipped around from stun to kill. You know,
Like,
I mean, I even saw like toy versions of them in the stores. I'm like, these look like replicas. I imagine that's what they look like in real life.
Yeah.
So these are my favorite phasers, I think.
I want to know, how long was the trial? Because they're doing the investigation on the ship, right? And they had like a speedy trial to throw him on the row with Pente or whatever.
Well, it's a Klingon trial. It'll go quick. They don't care.
Well, it looked like it was the same day for the crew of the Enterprise.
You think it was? They would have.
They didn't do anything to reference the passage of time, and that's another thing too. I don't know how much time went by, but Kirk was wearing that Viridian patch from the time he left the Enterprise until he got beamed back up. They didn't scan him. They didn't take his uniform. They didn't nothing. Like what? So I had to make up headcanon for it. My headcanon for the Viridian patch is the Viridian patch is actually a microcellular patch that once it gets applied, it seeps into the skin of the person it applies to. What do you guys think?
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, I had to make up my own story about how it works. Because, I mean, you would have taken that kind of thing away, even though they didn't.
There's too much thinking there, Scott.
I know it. Well, like I said, this is one of my favorite movies, so I have to nitpick the thing that you love. I would never nitpick the motion picture. Who cares?
Well, that's the easy one. Well, this one, you know, you can nitpick, but that was my only nitpick. I was like, man, that was a speedy trial. And it was the first time I really realized that. Because
I like whenever I put one of the texts on the screen, immediately Scott and Dan like rush to their phones to see what the people are saying.
Well, yeah, when I'm on my computer, it's no big deal. But like, let's see now.
Yeah, Awaiting Game says the crime scene in the spacesuits needs to be set to Around the World by Daft Punk. I don't know enough Daft Punk songs to be like, oh yeah, that one.
Or the Tron 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
That was a cool soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was about the coolest
I can't wait
thing
for
about
the new. Yeah, I can't wait for Tron 3 with the Trent Reznor soundtrack. That's gonna be awesome.
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was like when they're looking for the boots, right? I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, did Johnny Cochran watch this? Like, if the gloves don't fit, you must have quit, you know, because the boots didn't fit.
I like when they show the boot and then they're like, it's this guy, and they pan down to his feet and they're like, oh no, it's not.
She is the worst Vulcan. Worst Vulcan. I mean, she mucked this thing up so bad.
Yeah.
It's like you guys got like
his name was Dax too.
Yeah, his name was Dax. Yeah. They use a lot of names like that.
Yeah. What was Scotty looking for when he's just sitting at the table in the middle of the night, drinking a cup of coffee, looking
I think he was just
paper blueprints for the Enterprise.
He's old school like that. He's just trying to. He's just looking through it, going, "Where could I hide some uniforms?" And then, you know, because I think that set is 10 forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And he just, you know, the airflow through the thing made it vibrate, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And
so it's kind of a pattern here. So that scene you were talking about earlier, when Colonel West is briefing the president, about a rescue operation, he has a flip chart in that scene. Yeah. He's flipping paper charts, right? Not a PowerPoint presentation.
Nope. And he's using a laser pointer too.
What about when they're speaking Klingon and they have like books?
I was getting to that. So Scotty's reading the paper blueprints. Colonel West has a paper flip chart. Uhura is translating Klingon with old books. Now they looked old, when were these books published? I mean, books now don't look like those books
I know.
did.
I know.
Also, where's the
looked
bookshelf on the Enterprise?
Hey,
On the
Yeah.
Enterprise bridge.
It
Barnes
looks like
Noble
she's
could have
got,
sold them in a
she's got
retro.
War and Peace, she's got Treasure Island,
Mhm.
Tale of Two Cities, and Klingon to English Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is this movie is in 91, right? So like
Yeah.
they had
Yeah.
pads on TNG. Like they knew like this is where eventually where we're gonna get to. They could have
Yeah.
had something, you know.
They wanted to add a comedy scene. I read on IMDb that the panels, the computer panels above them, were translating what the Klingons were saying on screen. Like they were typing it out what the translation was.
Yeah.
But they decided to add this scene with Uhura not knowing what the hell she was doing. And Nichelle Nichols did not like this scene. She fought against it because she was like, a communications officer would on the flagship would definitely know a little bit of the language that of our mortal enemies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they decided to rectify that in the J.J. Abrams one, where she's a xenolinguistic savant.
Well, she voiced her opinion on a couple different things, and sometimes she won out, and sometimes she didn't. And you can't win all your battles. So the one she objected to was when the Klingons are on board and they're exchanging racist remarks about the Klingons. One of the lines was going to be, "But would you want your daughter to marry one?"
Oh wow!
And she objected. She objected to that. And I don't know if I think it might have driven the point home a little bit if somebody had said that hey, Klingons are people too. We made this mistake in the past. They're making this mistake now. I think it would have driven the allegory home a little bit, but I understand why she
frowned upon it. Yeah,
you're right, because they portrayed Kirk as a racist and a speciesist in this,
right?
And they go over the reasons. The Klingons killed this. It was a Klingon that happened to kill his son. But I think that what they were trying to, at the end of the movie, he finally realizes the error of his ways, and Star Trek has done this for decades. They make the allegory of racism with the original series episode with the people that were black on one side and white on the other. The Deep Space Nine episode where they're talking about same-sex relationships, and so this is not something new to Star Trek. They just tackled racism, I think, more in an in-your-face kind of way.
And it was completely an allegory for the Cold War.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, even Gorkon was an amalgamation of Gorbachev and somebody else, Reagan.
Well, yeah, I was thinking earlier when you guys saying that it took forever for the Klingons to join the Federation, right? Because Worf kind of briefly mentioned it, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Russia right now and joining NATO. Like, there's no way Russia would ever join NATO.
Yeah, not right now. 50 years from now, who knows what the geopolitical atmosphere is going to be? But there was at one point in our history where us and Germany and Italy didn't get along too well.
Exactly.
And now we go there on vacation.
Right.
So there might be a future where we go to Iraq and Iran and Russia, and we're all good friends. North Korea. Yeah. 50 years can make a lot of difference.
That's true.
So,
all right.
Yep.
Well, anything else we want to bring up before we wrap it up?
Let's see. Well, Iman was in the movie. Did you guys mention him? Iman?
Yeah.
David Bowie
as the Kamaloid. Yep.
Oh no, we lost Dan.
No, I'm still here. I'm just checking my list.
Did you say David Bowie?
Yeah, his wife.
Yeah, that's his wife.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't
They're
know
married
that.
for like years.
Yeah.
David Bowie's dead.
All right. So,
yeah, he's dead. But that was his,
I'm still alive.
One of my ongoing complaints about Star Trek was here also, where everyone's a lawyer and there are no lawyers.
Right.
General Chang, He's a lawyer, apparently. He's a prosecutor.
My wife brought up the same issue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just looking at my notes real quick. But I also enjoyed that the crew of the Enterprise could see him doing his lawyerly duties because Klingon Court TV was streaming on the bridge.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think that, okay, I'm going to call that an incorrectly regarded as a goof because I think that was done on purpose. I think the Klingons wanted to make a show of this because number one, it was the Chancellor got assassinated, and number two, in the Klingon Empire, I would imagine James T. Kirk is the most famous human.
Yes.
So, I mean, this was the OJ trial for them.
Yeah.
Right.
This is like
They
the
were very
French
excited about it.
Admiral Nelson back in the day. So
I love that they practically told him, "You're gonna have a fair trial, and then you'll be convicted."
Right. Yeah. The part of the trial that I wanted to mention too, I thought it was a great transition, the way they did the translating of Klingon to English, where they show Chang talking in Klingon. Mm-hmm. They pan to an area where there's a Klingon translated in English, which is rumored to be the Klingon from the last movie. Captain Kirk, whatever his name is, the one that fired on the Enterprise without authorization. Rumor is that he got demoted to translator. Anyways, and then they pan back to Chang with a slightly different camera lens or angle, and he's now speaking in English, but it's pretty obvious he's speaking in Klingon, but to us, we can understand him. And the part where he's grilling Kirk, and he said, blah, 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 don't wait for the translation, answer me now. I think that's also, I think that's from a Shakespeare play, but the way that line was delivered and Kirk's response to it, like his facial expression, like he understood what he was saying. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. That scene was
I thought that was
amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Well, the casting's great. I mean,
so I think foreign language in films should be handled that way all the time. If
100%.
there's one thing I can't stand, it's reading 20 minutes of a movie because we want to go for authenticity. Well, no thanks.
Yep, watch Star Trek 6 on how to do it. That was the perfect way.
Yes, I find that it's like I watched the Shogun series last year on FX. Great series, but you had to read it.
Right.
And you could change it to the dub. I found out like after I finished the show, and so I read the whole show. And I was like, oh, I could have listened to it, But of course, the dub's not as good. If you watch Shogun, it's a great series. Oh, I was gonna say too. Did you guys see Andor?
Yeah,
I saw the first episode.
I did not see it.
I'm not gonna. I can't talk about Andor because I'm not as big a fan of Andor and the movie that is coming up, or the movie that this is a prequel to.
Rogue One. Yeah,
Rogue One. I'm not a huge fan of Rogue One. I know I'm in the minority on this.
Yeah, and
I know I'm just an ugly Star Wars fan that only likes laser sword battles and moving rocks with your mind. But I'm gonna watch Rogue One. Or I'm going to watch Andor Season 2. I watched Andor Season 1. I'm going to watch Season 2. And then I'm going to rewatch Rogue One.
Once you finish the episode, you will boot up Rogue One.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll do it. Andor is awesome. Yeah, I agree, man.
Andor
I love it. I think it's
probably
great.
the best Star Wars I've seen in years.
Is this it? Is it 2 seasons?
And
then Rogue?
That's it.
Yeah.
They're not doing anymore?
They're not doing anymore.
It is great.
And apparently, there was a plan to do like multiple seasons, but then they realized that Diego Luna would age throughout time, because that's how time works. And then it's not really going to match up with Rogue One as well. So in season 2, they do basically every 3 episodes is what would have been 1 season.
Okay.
So it's kind of neat.
Is it all out? Or
it's all out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they released them in 3-episode blocks, so that'd be 1 year, and then you go the next year and the next year.
Yeah, because each 3 blocks is It starts BBY4, BBY3,
Okay.
2, and that's the Battle of
Oh,
Yavin.
okay.
So it's 4 years before they blew up the Death Star, 2 years before they blew up the Death Star. So it kind of gives you the timeline.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm on the plane tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
It's good.
With your drinks and your yeah.
Chazbiz, I don't mind the barking dog, but next time you have to bring him on screen so we can see him.
Drake,
That's right.
come here. Here, I got him.
Speaking of which, a waiting game unrelated, but I want to hear your thoughts on the new Superman trailer. I'm excited for the movie, but I thought the trailer was just okay.
I love the Superman trailer. I'm loving the puppy. Oh, look at the doggy. Hi, doggy.
Oh, there we go.
What's up, Pooh?
Now, what kind of dog is that? Like
That's a Sheltie.
Yeah,
Sheltie. Oh,
yeah.
He's a mess.
He's cute.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for the dog fix.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the trailer?
I love the Superman trailer. Dan and I are big, huge Superman fans. So,
yeah. I thought the trailer was fun. I think it was just enough to get you excited about it, not revealing too much. We'll get one more trailer before the movie comes out.
You think Peacemaker this season of Peacemaker will lead in, kind of segue into the movie?
It's set after the movie. So.
Yeah, I know it's set after, so you think some of those characters are going to show up on there, maybe?
Oh, yeah, they already did on the trailer for
really?
Season 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the showrunners are like, okay, season 1, it doesn't. It's season 1 is DCEU, but we're going to pull out elements that we want for DCU, but only what we tell you is canon.
Right. Yeah.
So
basically, yeah.
If you're starting over, start over.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Yeah.
Well, the problem is James Gunn casted his wife in Peacemaker, so it's kind of hard for him to take her out. So
who's his wife?
She's the blonde on Peacemaker.
The blonde
I
lady.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
the hot-looking blonde lady on there. That's
okay. All right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, but those characters were in the end of Shazam 2.
Right.
There's other, the Justice League was in the end of Peacemaker. The DCEU Justice League was in the end of Peacemaker.
Yeah, they said you just have to ignore that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Aquaman's going to play Lobo. So
from now on, when you watch that, you have to stop the episode just before that. You've been ordered to by James Gunn.
That's right.
Yeah. They had the perfect opportunity to explain it all away with the Flash movie, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I know it. I know it.
I mean, technically, I suppose we could get an Ezra Miller cameo in Peacemaker to further explain it all, but I don't know.
No,
just have Grant
not an Ezra
Gustin
Miller.
instead.
We don't want an Ezra Miller cameo. We want a Grant Gustin cameo to
There you
explain
go.
it.
Yeah.
He can explain it.
He can explain it.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Miller kind of blew up his career, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I got kind of a heart out here pretty quick.
Yeah,
so,
we should get going.
I wanted to thank everybody for showing up an hour early. You three, and anybody who's been watching live. So I've got a Patriot Guard mission.
Yeah.
And I'll do a quick thing on the Patriot Guard next week, if you don't mind.
Well, we're not doing a show next week.
Oh no, we're not doing a show next week.
So
do you mind if I take 30 seconds to tell everybody what I'm doing?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So Patriot Guard Riders, they're a nonprofit organization I volunteer with. Their primary mission is to attend funeral services and stand a flag line for fallen service members, veterans, and first responders. They also attend Memorial Day events, welcome home ceremonies. Today, the Gold Star Mothers are doing a walkathon, and we're going to be there to support that. Now, I happen to be a veteran and a motorcycle rider, but you don't have to be either to join. So if you'd like more information on how to join the Patriot Guard Riders, or you'd like to request them for a funeral, just go to patriotguard.org. So thanks for the soapbox time.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you not next week, but the week after.
All right. Sounds good. Peace and long life, everyone.
This is Captain Benjamin Sisko of Deep Space Nine and Space God to the Bajorans. I have a mission for you. This falls outside of Starfleet guidelines. So I can't order you, but I'm asking for volunteers. Volunteers who will subscribe to the Trekcast YouTube channel, leave 5-star reviews on your podcast app of choice, and share Trekcast across your social media accounts. If we can make our audience bigger, we might have a chance against the Dominion. Are you ready? Subscribe, like, and share. Are you with me?